achieved.
What is up, world, and welcome to Studio de Jeffrey Day Quarantine, where I just woke up. I'm terrible at golf. I don't feel like my camera's straight, but I can't figure out what's crooked about it, so I can't fix it. And I had a nightmare about my bike getting a flat tire. Life comes at you fast, as the Cowboys and Gerald McCoy are figuring out right now. And by the way, I want you to know that I was very close to going bucket hat today, but I was on FaceTime with my lady, and as I put on the bucket hat, she said to me, let me see, I wrote it down. You're very handsome and you have great hair. That hat makes you look stupid and it's ugly. That was the cowboy bucket hat that she was talking about. So take your complaints to @AmandaGuerra_CBS on Twitter and tell her that my hat is not ugly, but thank you for calling me handsome. I'm still a little blurry because I played golf this morning and I just woke up from a nap. But I thought, you know what? It's been a long time and I shouldn't have left you without a practice report to step to. So here we are to talk Dallas Cowboys football, okay? Now, the first thing is I don't even know if Gerald McCoy is like out of surgery and knows what's happening yet, but the Cowboys have waived Gerald McCoy. And this is not a procedural thing to get him to the injured reserve. This is he had in his contract that he signed with the boys that you have a pre-existing right quad condition. If anything happens to that injury, basically, we can get out of everything but your $3 million signing bonus. So they're going to save money against the cap this year and next year. His other guaranteed money is out of there. And if you did not realize it yet, the NFL is a business. Yesterday on the radio, I was talking about what the quotes and the great attitude and how even though he's hurt, Gerald McCoy is going to, be a leader and help these guys. And the Cowboys were like, yeah, how about we just save some money here? And if you get healthy, then we'll try to sign you again next offseason for less. So Gerald McCoy's been waived, and that's that. He ain't playing this year, and the Cowboys are going to save a little bit of money. What are they going to do with that money? Maybe nothing, maybe something, but likely nothing. This video might be weird because I really just woke up a few minutes ago. And I did have a nightmare. Practice report coming, by the way. And the nightmare, I blew out a tire on my bike, the front tire. And then later in the dream, I'd gotten that fixed, and I blew out the back tire. And then I went to a Home Depot where somehow a friend of mine did radio but also worked at the Home Depot. And he finished his radio show, and I was like, hey, man, do you guys have bike tires? And he was like, yeah, dude. I think we do. So it was an I think so, even though he worked there. And we walked around the store for a while, and we never found him. And at some point, I was like, dude, I got to go. And so I walked my bike with its flat tire out. And it turned out I had to go to the bank, but the bank was in a gas station. So I walked into that gas station bank, and I saw that one of the employees was kind of in trouble. It looked like people were mad at him. And so I walked up to the gas station banker, and I was like, hey, man, I got these checks that I got to get into my account. And he was like, man, we can't do the bank stuff today. I was like, what do you mean you can't do the bank stuff? You're the gas station bank. And he was like, yeah, but somebody's been writing bank checks to themselves, and so now we can't do the money bank stuff today. And I somehow in my mind that made sense. And I said, okay. And then I walked outside, and then I woke up. But somehow it's a nightmare and not a dream, if you guys know what I mean, where I woke up and I was like that was a nightmare, not a dream. I don't know how, but you just have to trust me because there's a way you feel after a nightmare as opposed to a dream, and it was a nightmare, okay? Cowboys practice report. I don't know what is wrong with me today. And I will tell you, follow @HellmanDC on Twitter because Dave is doing a phenomenal job of covering the Cowboys practices for DallasCowboys.com and for all of you guys. Also, as of a few minutes ago, Dontari Poe passed his physical. He'll be activated from the PUP list. So Dontari Poe you'll see on the practice field soon. Gerald McCoy has been waived. And now we check in with my guy, Dave Hellman, and all of his different things that he was talking about from Cowboys practice. First, number one, Demarcus Lawrence, I believe the way he phrased it is that he ruined practice by having like 3 sacks and 3 more pressures, and he killed the 2-minute drill with the sack of Dak. Xavier Woods had a pick, by the way, on the same play that Tank would have had a sack. And that's because Lyle Collins is not practicing yet, which is still kind of weird to me that everybody's just like, oh, he's got to get a little conditioning in. I'm like, wait, is it not a big deal that the right tackle showed up to camp? Like, yeah, I'll get in shape later. Okay, he was awesome last year. I think he'll be awesome this year, but still, that's weird that your right tackle's not ready. So your backup offensive tackles apparently are horrible because Tank Lawrence is just teeing off on them all, which he should do. If you don't have a good tackle out there, Tank's really good. So he wrecks everybody. Now, as far as the Cowboys defense goes, they've gotten 6 interceptions and a forced fumble so far through 4 practices, according to Hellman. My guy, undrafted free agent linebacker Francis Bernard, who I believe I had a 4th or 5th round grade on, he leads the way. He's got a couple of picks. Anthony Brown's got a pick and a forced fumble. Cheeto's got a pick. Xavier Woods has a pick. Donovan Wilson has a pick. Trayvon Diggs just missed a pick on Friday. So, defense, getting them some turnovers, which is great. Now, where's the rest of your stuff, Dave? I hit the favorite button on it. Here we go. Other Cowboys practice report stuff. Got my barbecue AF shirt on from Meat Church, and I'm going to make some chicken wings as soon as I'm done with this. Maybe. 3 sacks and 3 pressures from Tank today. Brandon Knight returned to practice today. Don't care. Andy Dalton made a big play to Ventel Bryant, beating Reggie Robinson today in practice. Francis Bernard, as we said, had an interception. This one was of Clayton Thorson, so I don't know if you want to count it. Dak on the 2-minute drill before he was sacked / threw a pick to Xavier Woods was 7 of 8 to 6 different guys. Drew an offside flag. Went 61 yards down to the 4-yard line before Tank happened. And Hellman says he charted Dak 15 of 19 during the team period. Completions to 10 different players. John Vay Johnson in particular. Wonderful diving catch over the middle for 15 to 18 yards. So those are the things that happened in Cowboys practice today. John Vay Johnson is coming off of a good camp last year until he forgot how to catch the ball right around the time where the preseason game started. So that'll be a name that's really interesting to battle with guys like Cedric Wilson and Ventel Bryant for the 4th, 5th, and potentially 6th wide receiver spots. Throw John Vay Johnson's name in there. He made some waves last year in camp, and apparently he is on his way to doing that again. Keep an eye on Francis Bernard. That's the undrafted free agent who's been making waves, and I told you he might. That was my undrafted guy. That was my highest graded guy that they got as an undrafted free agent. So those are those things. Another thing worth mentioning, and it's mostly Kyle Yeomans of Cowboys.com, I think, that I have seen talking about this. But he's been talking about how Trysten Hill has been having a good camp so far, and McCarthy has praised him a little bit. And here's Dave Hellman where he says somebody asked him on Twitter how Trysten Hill is looking, and he said he doesn't want to do the thing where we hype a guy too much based off limited practice reps. But he said he's getting a lot of opportunities to go against good players, and he doesn't look like he's out of his depth. That's an encouraging start in his opinion. So there may be an opportunity here for Trysten Hill. You know who I haven't really heard about is Neville Gallimore at all. So for Trysten Hill, I think there is an opportunity because at times this team's going to run a 3-man defensive line. Now, their base is going to be a 4-man. I saw some pictures today from practice where they had their 2 defensive tackles lined up as a 1-technique nose between the center and guard, a 3-technique over the opposite guard, and then they had their guys playing in their normal defensive end spots, but it was Alden Smith and it was Tank Lawrence, and they were standing up, which technically there's really nothing different, which is why when people are like, oh, no, this guy stood up in college, he can't put his hand on the ground, I go, shut up, it really doesn't matter. They're still lined up in a 4-man front. They just had 2 guys standing up instead of having their hand on the ground. Who cares? But it was fun to see. Get a little stand-up action there. I'm drinking my energy drink. It's not liquor. Although there's some Hornitos behind me somewhere. Right there. Other things I wanted to do today. Mailbag. Reggie Hart. Proud to be an 18%er, which, by the way, excited to announce. This may be as far as it can get. But we're at 19 now. So thank you to those of you who are 19 percenters who have the notifications turned on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Jeff Cavanaugh. If you're subscribed, I love you. If you click on the bell and have the notifications turned on, then I actually double love you, perhaps triple. He said, linebacker is definitely an upgrade with the newbies, and I think our kicker is an upgrade. Proud to be an 18 percenter. Also, why aren't we trying to get a stud at strong safety? I don't think it's that they're not trying. I'd say you have to decide what you're going to do with your resources, and the Cowboys have decided that safety is not going to be at the top of their priority list. There's been some really cool analytical research that shows that maybe they're wrong in that way, and that safety is more important than the NFL is considering it based on how they're paying it. But I think that's just a decision that they've made, and I think they trusted their last coaching staff a lot when it came to personnel. So when Rod Marinelli wanted to draft Trysten Hill, look, there's a reason 2 weeks before the draft we told you the Cowboys were picking Trysten Hill in the second round. Because we knew. We knew they liked him. We knew Rod liked him. And that is who they were going to pick. We also knew he'd be available, which is not encouraging. But they did it. And hopefully, I totally blanked on what I was telling you about Trysten Hill. Here's where one of his opportunities is. He's getting a lot of reps right now, but one of the big opportunities for him is when they run a three-man line, they don't have a lot of dudes that can play the end on a three-man line where you're head up and you're asked to two-gap, and I wonder if he could be one of those guys. You know, when you've got three guys playing a three-man line there, you'll want Dontari Poe or Antoine Woods in the middle, and, maybe one of them could play the other one there. But I think they want to give, in those spots, Tank the opportunity to stand up and be a rusher, and Alden Smith the opportunity to stand up and be a rusher. Maybe Tyrone Crawford can play one of those. But maybe Trysten Hill can be a guy that when you're going with the three-man look can be one of your down linemen. He's got an opportunity here. He's definitely got an opportunity here because without Gerald McCoy, they've got to figure out what are we going to do at the three technique at the D-tackle spot. And to me, I would make Tyrone Crawford the starter, and then it's Neville Gallimore versus Trysten Hill for the reps behind him. But also when you're running some different looks, maybe you have use for another sort of explosive defensive tackle type, not the plotters, and maybe he could help you there. Doug Faulkner said, Jeff, loved the show, heard a couple positive things on Trysten Hill over yesterday's practice. Feel like he's been written off already by most Cowboy fans. Let's say he becomes the player they expected. Who gets pushed out? Maybe nobody. You get to keep 55. And without McCoy, it's a little more up in the air what you're doing at the under tackle spot there. And so maybe it turns out that Tyrone Crawford gets kept, obviously, but he can play snaps everywhere, and Trysten Hill is kind of your fourth interior guy they keep, and Tyrone Crawford is considered an everything guy you keep. Maybe they keep 11 guys on the defensive line. Because I don't think you're going to go into the season with one nose tackle. That's why I think Antoine Woods is going to make it, because I couldn't see them just going, we got Dontari Poe, and he's going to play literally every nose tackle snap, or we're going to put in one of our smaller guys at the nose tackle snaps. I feel like they're keeping two of those. So I think Woods is going to make it. And I don't think they're going to cut a third-round pick, so I think Gallimore's pretty safe. Tyrone Crawford is safe. So Trysten Hill really, maybe he's battling against like a 6th or 7th defensive end as they're figuring out their roster makeup. Drew Skizzy, 18% club. Did the Cowboys show any defensive formations this first practice? If yes, were they 4-3 or 3-4 base? They're a 4-3 base defense, but they're going to do a lot of different things. That's one of the things that we are learning. Tudor Davies, given we will be picking 24+ in the draft and the shameful performance of the tight ends today, what wide receiver do we take to add to the wide receiver room? Big love from the UK. That's a man after my own heart. More wide receivers. Cut all the tight ends. That's a good joke. That's a good joke. You're good at receiver. Figure it out. Scrap it together. Brian Hodnett. Afternoon, Jeff. 18%er here. Speaking of Trayvon Diggs, do you think the upgraded defensive scheme and pass rush can help him look less like a rookie? I think with the pressure up front, he'll have at least 2 picks by week 5. Yeah, I don't think it's wise to put a bunch of expectation of a second-round rookie is going to step in and be Patrick Peterson or Jalen Ramsey as a rookie. I think that's That's being really hopeful. Like, it's one thing if it's Jeffrey Okudah where you're putting that on him, but I just think that's unfair, and I hope that Trayvon Diggs can earn a starting spot, which at the moment he does not have. Anthony Brown's having a good camp so far. Cheeto and Jordan Lewis are getting starter snaps, so we'll see if he is able to get one of those jobs, but he's going to have to earn it, and that's the way you do things. If you don't know for a fact that the dude's going to be a starter and make an impact, like, let's say, CeeDee Lamb, then the other dudes, go earn it. Coaches, especially in a short offseason or preseason here or training camp, are going to lean on veterans, and if one of the young guys comes along and forces their way in, awesome. Wesley says, I'm an everyday watcher. Can you give us 60 seconds on Donovan Wilson? Apparently he had an exciting day and some work with the ones. Yeah, I'll give you 60 seconds on Wilson. I thought when he came into the league that he was more of a box and downhill player than a guy that was really going to affect the passing game. But in his opportunities, both in this camp and the last one, he's been pretty good in terms of finding the football. It didn't seem like the coaching staff last year trusted him, though, because I think he got into some real game situations and had a couple of coverage busts. So the interceptions are great, but if a coach doesn't feel like he can trust you, they're going to be worried about you. So let him keep playing. Let him keep playing. He's young. I don't think there's a starting spot available on this team at safety unless Clinton Dix has an awful camp. I think they'll trust the guy that they brought in to be the starter. But your goal for Wilson is to have him be the third safety, maybe play some snaps, and have the coaching staff see him as a guy they could trust to be a starter next year. That'd be great. Anthony Spini, by the way, mash that thumbs up button and leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow, okay? Everyday watcher, that was that one. Anthony Spini. With Mike Nolan running a defense that we think will be more varied, go over some potential sub-package lineups that the defense could use in a potential 3-4 or other packages. Love to see some three-man line of Poe, McCoy, Griffin. Well, you're not going to get McCoy in there. Poe, McCoy, Griffin with Tank and Alden/Randy as stand-up OLBs. So we've now seen Tank and Alden Smith standing up. So at times, picture a nickel defense where they actually have a fifth guy on the line that is either Alden Smith or Tank Lawrence. Randy Gregory, if he's reinstated, maybe it's Jalen Smith as a blitzing linebacker, and they play 6 in coverage and they bring 5. Picture Poe, Crawford, Griffin maybe is a 3-man line, or Trysten Hill there, and then again Alden or Tank standing up, or both of them standing up. They will do fun things. They'll be a much more fun team to watch. The real D-Lo 22 finally caught up to the current day. Been watching daily. I watch on my lunch. Communicated via Twitter for years. I've watched the draft show. We've played together on Call of Duty. Jeff, what you do matters, and you have people who love and support you. I just want to sincerely say thank you for what you do. I'm more than an 18%er. So much that I cracked my phone, slamming the thumbs up. God bless. There's not even a question in there. Thank you, Real D-Lo. That means a lot. I appreciate you, brother. Dusty Howard. Which Cowboys player would you most like to have a beer with? Joe Looney, probably. Yeah, probably Looney. You want somebody who's going to have fun. Maybe Everson Griffin to see if he ever blinks. Grayson, I know a lot of people don't like screenplays, but Pollard and Lamb are so dangerous in the open field, can make people miss when a blocker's ahead of them. I feel like we should call some screenplays because we have a top 3 O-line, and early in Zeke's career is obvious how successful the screen game was. Yeah, screen game's fine. I'm not a screen hater. You guys know I'm in on efficiency numbers and expected results, and the screen doesn't do great in that department. But kind of the point of a screenplay is that you call it at the right time. So it's just a strategy maneuver. It's... depends on how defenses are lined up, how you think they're going to react to play action. It's just, you'll find the right opportunities to throw them. And, yeah, you got some guys that are good in the screen game. Tommy, hey, Jeff, who do you think is going to be a likely candidate to replace Cavanaugh as the next special teams ace? That is a good question. I have to look up and down the roster. First name that jumps to mind is wide receiver Ventel Bryant. He was a good special teamer last year. That's the first name that jumps in. But other than that, I think you just look up and down the depth chart at safety, linebacker, sometimes corner. sometimes wide receiver. That's where you're going to find your special teamers. All right, I got to go. This is taking a long time. I got to get to stuff. I got to watch Stars. And hey, the refs who teed up Porzingis twice last night, no, dude. No. If that were Kawhi, he wouldn't have got a second technical there. If it were Luka, he wouldn't have got a second technical there. Superstar players aren't getting thrown out on that BS, okay? It's not happening. So why don't you get your proper respect for KP in order and chill your ass? How about that, okay? All right, everybody, in the comments, which we want to talk about tomorrow. And shout out to the guy who was like, hey, man, I saw you struggling with your weird question that you wanted to do at the end of a video, so he just left me a bunch of random topic ideas. What's your favorite number? And why is it your favorite? What's on your favorite T-shirt? Sports team logo, a band logo, a product logo, a vacation destination, a picture of somebody's face? What's on your favorite T-shirt? Who's still here at 2044 is a question. All right, I got to go. But hit me up in the comments. I'm going to watch the sports, maybe play some Call of Duty, and lament that I suck at golf and had a nightmare, a flat tire bike nightmare. I love you. Bye.